What's up, guys? I know you're starting to recognize this garage, but welcome to another episode of Down South Off-Road and Outdoor. Once again, we're over at Mike's Fabrication and Refinishing. By the way, don't be calling him when you see his number in these videos. He's doing this because I'm family. But as you can see, we've replaced almost everything factory on this Jeep now. So the only thing left are these gray plastic running boards. So we're going to be replacing those today with some Poison Spyder Brawler Rockers. And when the box arrived, it still says made in the USA. Stay tuned. So I'm gonna open this thing up. We've got it all cut open. And once again, it looks like they did their due diligence with packing. Yeah, I mean, it's got foam on the sides. So let's hope when we, oh yeah, so we've got all our hardware here. So I think that's all the nutserts. And so yeah, so.
Stainless hardware.
It is it stainless?
Stainless foam, yeah.
Nice. So let's see what made in the USA still gets us. Yeah, that's gonna be pretty sweet. I always think it's funny that I'm going to be drilling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 holes in my rocker to keep my rocker safe.
Per side.
Yeah. So
26 holes so we don't scratch the rock.
yeah. So I'm putting 26 holes in something to keep it safe and protected. But look, guys, I'll be honest. I'm not putting this on to keep it protected. I'm putting it on because it looks cool as hell, Mike.
Yeah.
All right, so it's all the big stuff that's left in the box. And apparently it's so beefy once it goes on that I could actually use a high lift jack to jack the Jeep up. So we'll see. So there's 3 13 millimeters on each side and what?
16 millimeters.
6 10 millimeters. Yeah, it says so that you can wash it out easy.
Yeah.
After you're off-roading.
Yeah. Well, you let me know how that goes.
We got instructions. They don't have color pictures, but
they are clear pictures.
But they're clear. That's important. So we are using instructions today. All right, guys, so when you get your Brawler Rocker out, if you're wondering which side goes where, there's an easy way to tell. The wider side of the step, if you look down through there, you see it gets narrower. So the wider side of the step is gonna go to the rear. So this one here, for instance, is a driver's side because it's much fatter in the back than it is in the front. And you can also see they've got a lot of bracing in between each of those holes to give it some strength. The first thing Mike's gonna be doing is taping up the side, basically where the rocker panel protection is gonna cover. He's doing that for a couple reasons. One, so that he doesn't skin up the side of the Jeep, but then also it's better to drill through it with it taped, right?
Yeah, well, that we can draw on it. We can make our marks with Sharpie or whatever we need to do.
So we'll be able to see our punch holes when we mark them in with the Sharpie a little easier on this blue painted tape. And Mike loves taping up things.
Love it.
So what's going to be your next step, Mike, after you're done with the tape job?
Well, we're going to continue taping a little bit here on the sides of everything. The bottom of the door and stuff, that way if we slide around a little bit, we'll get you there well.
Oh, so you're going above and beyond the required taping.
This color ain't real cheap, and it probably don't match real good. So.
Thanks. I don't know if you heard him, guys, but he said this color ain't cheap and it probably won't match up real good. So we're going to try to protect it.
We're going to try to stay good as long as, we'll let the trees be the paint off. I ain't going to do this. want to do it individually. That way we can still see our body lines to line the t-shirt kit.
Gotcha.
That's why I'm not just running over.
Oh, so that's why you're making sure to tape up the edges separately.
Because we won't be able to see those lines, so we can fit those.
Line it up. Perfect. So guys, that's a helpful tip. So he's not just putting the tape over the doors, he's taping them up so that you still see all of these seams. So when we're lining up that rocker, we know it's in the right place. So what we're doing now is he's making these little hanger pieces so that when we hold the rocker panel protector up, we can just pull that tape right down to it to help us hold it up to get it lined up. Once it's up there, he's got about 4 wood vice grips that we're gonna try to clip on to hold this thing up so that we can get our holes marked.
So I'm thinking it don't say nothing about it, I don't think.
So we've got it taped on here basically where we want it. And you can see that it's got this ledge here where these are gonna bolt into that ledge. And then as you can see here on this super thick stuff, you've got a body mount bolt, and another body mount bolt. So this thing is bolting to all 3 body mounts. That's one of the reasons that it is so strong. So I think Mike wants to actually hook the steps onto this to line everything up before we start drilling a hole. So Mike's just taking out those body bolts right now, or he's trying. Lagatha's pretty rusty and dirty, as you can see. So we're checking out the hardware. Mike just wants to get these clips put in. These are clips that we're gonna bolt through. We're about to lose our tape holding this shit on. I think we're pushing its capabilities. Yeah, here.
We'll sit it back up here and bolt them together and slide on that way. Don't fall in place.
All right, guys, they give you these clip nuts to put on so that you can run your bolts through them. So that is what we're doing right now. So you can see they just sort of clip over.
You want to push them until this little clip right here goes into the hole, because that holds them when they won't come off.
So here's a collection of the hardware you get. These are your nutserts. That's what's going to go into the rocker protection. There are your bolts that are going to go through the floor. And I'm guessing the rocker bolts are these little guys, the much smaller ones.
Those are what holds the armor plate on, and then these larger ones will be what goes
there to hold your steps on.
Through the panel.
So it's gonna look just like. So I basically just understood what the hell Mike's doing. So basically, we're gonna bolt this thing to the body mounts. And his thought process is that if we bolt this to the body mount, then we can, because you've got a little bit of play in these bolt holes, we can basically line it up, and now it's gonna support itself while we mark the holes. We're not gonna have to worry about clamping it up to the rocker and all that stuff. So let's just hope that Mike is the genius that I think he is.
We'll see here in a minute. Time will tell.
Guys, I just want to go on record and say that Mike is a dick, even though he helps me. Like, this is the only shop that will let me film YouTube videos. Do you know that? Because apparently there's there's insurance regulations about people being in the back with a camera.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's really just that shops don't want you videoing their guys working. I think that's really
it's insurance in case they screw it up.
Yeah.
Not in case you trip over something.
Yeah.
It's in case it videos them leaving that handful of
All
bolts
right.
on the table. Bolt started here.
It is not like.
Yeah. We're gonna have to go forward and get kind of close up because we're gonna get through the fender flare. So what we're gonna do is get it kind of where we want it. As far as front to back and shit. bottom edge of the door right there.
Okay.
So now we know that sight's going to sit down there. We'll come in here. It's kind of down lower, but I think I like it. I don't think you're going to rub it as much with your ankle or something, with it being a little bit lower than the crack. You cool with that? Because that's where it pulls it on the fender. I mean, we'll obviously pull it closer up here.
So what he's doing is really trying to bring that panel up close to the body so that we can mark the holes that way. The reason we did this is because at least now we know that when we put that body panel, the body mount bolts on tight, it's not going to be creating a ton of stress between the steps and themselves because they were on together when we found the position.
Because we were just about to put them up much higher than that.
Yep.
And that would have not worked out well.
All right. So now he feels good and safe about marking these holes where we're about to drill, right, Mike?
Yeah.
It's a little warm here in November, guys. We weren't expecting sunny skies and 80 degrees today.
Yeah, the thermometer up here is still on 80.
Yeah. Guys, so we're only going to be drilling 2 holes right now. We're going to drill that very, very front hole, and then we're going to come over here and drill that very, very back hole. Now, once we have those holes drilled and we actually screw the bolts in to attach them, that's when we'll mark all of our other holes and drill those out. That way we know for a fact all those holes are in the right place. Right, Mike?
Sir.
He's got one more clamp he wants to pull in because you can see we're out away from the body a little bit. So
Get it in there.
he's brought in this big nutty professor looking laboratory grip. It's not gonna work. I think it's good, Mike. I think it's good.
Now what? My clamp
That's gonna be hilarious. All right, you see it snug it up to the body, guys? That's exactly what he wanted.
If it'll stay right there, take this 1/4 inch bit. All we're gonna do is center up the hole. We're not even gonna drill it all the way through.
Okay.
And we'll come back here. Do just about the same thing. Try to let this clamp grab another grip of it.
So close, man.
Well, the inner body part tapers right there. So you get it real tight and it tries to slide off of it. I think we've got it there. We've got a good body line here, it looks like.
Yep.
So since that's almost a 1/4 inch hole, we're using a 1/4 inch bit. That lets us find the center much easier. Then, now I'm gonna be honest, I might drill them all with it right like that.
Okay.
Because we've got it clamped into its spot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, everywhere.
Hey,
So
drill, baby, drill.
We're gonna line them all up.
This will be much different than any other install video on this product, and honestly, I think it may be faster, Mike.
Maybe. And you keep bringing that up, man. It's making me
No,
nervous.
no. I'm just saying, you've tapped into a new method here that Poison Spyder may need to be aware of. It's like, can you see the other one? So now we just take everything off, right?
Take it off and make all the holes and put in the inserts.
Okay.
Because I feel like we're bolted to the frame, we're bolted together, and we're clamped up flush to the body. So by the time we hit all those holes drilled, there should be no need to read.
Perfect.
Shouldn't. I'll let you know that you can cuss me every time you get in and out of it if it's wrong.
If it's all crooked and shit. It's angled downhill, so my fat ass falls out every time.
Well, it'll make you easier, make you fall out instead of fall in it.
So guys, I will say, I am a little nervous about that tiny baby step being smooth as a baby's ass. So, so we'll see.
Yep.
So now he's stepping up to the larger bit. Is this the actual bit size for the hole we need?
Yes.
And again, he's rubbing that in cool cut. Just kind of helps lube up the cut, keeps the drill bit from burning up.
If we weren't using a pilot tipped bit, we would step another couple steps in between. But this pilot tipped bit will not be able to do that. It'll be jumping around. So we're going to attempt it just like this and see how it does. Make sure it doesn't tear the metal up too bad. With my hand.
Big hit in the back.
Let's see, that's a pretty clean hole. Our nutserts a snug fit, so we'll just clean it up a little. A very, very little. And then once we're finished cleaning it up, it'll be right in there. But we'll come back and cut all these little burrs off of it.
So the reason we're not using the step bit is because it plainly says in the instructions not to drill through to the next panel. And so show how short that was, Mike. Yeah. So a step bit would be in there much further to get through to the diameter that you need. So that's why we're just going straight up with a single bit. So we got all the holes drilled. So Mike is just testing those nutserts to make sure they'll go in. The ones that are tight, get a little more drilling.
Ring.
No tight holes allowed.
For everybody wondering why rockers on Jeeps ride out and other cars, because this foam back here holds all the water. Makes it quieter going on the road, but it holds the water.
So we just want to make sure we're not aiding the rust cancer. So he's just going to paint those holes up. What we're going to be painting it with is primer stick. So I think you just break it.
And two-sided tape. It'll seal metal back up.
And you can see it running down now. And so guys, you can see when he comes away, it's black in there.
But this is, if you see somebody gluing your new windshield in and they put down some black stuff under the glue, this is what it is. It helps with adhesion, but it also seals it up. If you've got any metal spots, they use it like when they're cutting out a windshield. If it's left scratch marks from the blade, this will help seal it up, and it helps the urethane stick.
Guys, I don't recommend trying this without a nutsert tool. If you've got that little Allen wrench set that they send you, because I think they did send it to us.
Yeah, it's.
You don't want to use either way. It don't matter. You don't want to use that shit.
You're gonna be here all week.
You will. It will take you days to get this in. So buy the nutsert tool. I will say that I bought this Smitty built nutsert tool, and it's a giant piece of shit. It's only done 2 projects, and it's almost worn out. So it still works, but it slides back in the arbor. So buy a good nutsert tool.
Good stuff.
Good fit? Nice. So I'll let you see what it looks like for him to load one of those up. So basically you're just gonna take that nutsert, screw it onto the tip.
Till the threads are out the backside.
You want those threads showing out of the back. He's gonna squeeze like Thor, and boom. If you were doing it the other way, it would probably take you 10 minutes per.
We'd still be on the first, and you'd already be sweating.
Yep.
Because what you're doing, this splined area crushes. You can see in there, you can see it gets a big wrinkle in there, where it's nice and smooth when you start. See how deep back the threads are and how nice and smooth it is?
Yep.
The threads are at the very top. So you crush pretty much that entire splined area. And it makes it swell up and those splines bite into the metal. So you've got to hold 1 wrench and turn another wrench to make it crush. And these are not aluminum, so it's not going to be like your average beer can. Yeah, so cool. We're only about to make 26 holes to not scratch it.
Yep. But guys, I had dents down there. Again, I'm not adding these for to protect my rocker. I'm adding them to not get caught up on rocks and have a step that looks cooler than the factory step.
And when he's leaving the mall and there's a puddle beside his Jeep, he can go from the curb to the Jeep.
Hey, you know what? You know what, Mike?
We're gonna have to knock those in. We're not gonna make it.
So we've got a shallow one, guys.
A couple shallow ones. Very shallow ones. There we go.
So guys, if you're wondering why he used that basically punch, he doesn't want to drill through that back panel because that could be a rust point. All right, we got one more of the shallow ones.
Fucking game show host.
Is that what it sounds like?
That's what it sounds like right now. And behind this door,
we've got some hammered metal. Almost.
that we're doing 26 holes in so we don't scratch. Voila.
Got all of our nutserts in, so I think the only thing left to do on this side is bolt this bitch up. And again, the reason we use that punch on those shallow holes, you don't want to drill through that panel behind. It plainly tells you in the instructions not to, and you don't want to have to worry about rusting up inside of there when you're off-road getting it wet and things like that. So find you a punch that'll just kind of push that metal out of the way and hopefully keep that paint on it still. Oh, for sure.
We're working against each other.
All right, so the body mount bolts aren't tight yet. You may hold that right there. So the body bolt mounts aren't tight, but we're gonna go ahead and bolt in the front and the back, right?
Well, we'll start all of them. See how I pulled it up flush there?
Yep.
And we should just be able to go down through here. Start putting them in as we go. And we'll raise up the back and do the same thing. But I don't think the back's gonna have to go quite as far.
And you can see, if you look right in there to that body line, it's almost perfect, guys. So that's a good sign, right?
I feel pretty good about it so far. All the bolts are falling down in the holes pretty good. We've not had to get out a hammer and a chisel to get any bolts in it yet.
Yeah, so
Feel pretty good about it.
calling it a win, Mike.
Uh-oh, I
He's
say
like-
that and I get one tight. Pull up this other side and see if it helps any first. We're not tightening any of these, we're just running them in flush for the time being until we get some more, all the bolts installed. And this one we twisted a little bit, so we need to get it back to where it needs to be.
All right.
It's not a big deal if these things are misaligned. When you drill the hole and you put the inserts in, sometimes it disforms the sheet metal a little bit, and you'll have to get it twisted back where your bolt hits it good. Yeah, and then when it tightens down, it'll straighten it out where it needs to be, because the sheet metal will move still yet.
Nice. All right, looks like everything went nice and flush. Nothing has been torqued down. Even the steps to the rocker protection hasn't really been torqued down. So that is what it's gonna look like. I don't think it looks bad at all.
I really like the blue. I think it really brings out.
Yeah, the blue really brings out. So Poison Spyder makes fenders in this same coat. So I guess so that it looks the same from the side, that's probably the best bet, don't you think? So that the powder coat matches.
But the thing is, you're going to want to do it pretty soon, because they're going to fade differently, and next year they'll be two different colors.
Hey Mike, look at the camera and tell Kim she should buy me some Poison Spyder fender flares.
Fender flares and the front and the back bumper too. He said he wanted those too.
No, damn it, Mike, no. See, now you're adding stuff. She's not gonna do it.
Roughly 3 would be good.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you can see, guys, it fills up that dead space between your rocker and your frame. It's gonna help keep stuff from getting in there. But then when you're out on the trail and you need to wash this thing out, you can stick a hose right in these holes, and hopefully a lot of your debris is gonna come out. So, and they say that these holes you can also use as a high lift jack point. It's gonna mar up your metal, but it's possible.
If you had to blow out on the trail, you don't give a fuck about scratch.
Yeah, for sure. And you could probably use a bottle jack here, couldn't you?
Yeah, about anywhere, because they're gusseted in between all these holes. I mean, you could hit it right there on that frame tab or here or there, whatever you have, until you tear them off. But I mean, being bolted through the frame, you got a better chance there than anywhere else.
All right, guys, so when it comes to this side, I've gotten quite a scratch here, and we think that it may show through the Spyder design. So luckily Mike has some copperhead paint where he's going to be painting bumper pieces, and so we're just going to at least pin some paint on. I mean, so somebody may notice it if they really get in there and look, but it's going to be a lot less noticeable than a gray primer line underneath. Holy shit, it really is covering it.
This paint hasn't been thinned yet, so it's still thick.
Nice and thick, like fingernail polish.
Still thick to stay in it, yeah.
Look at that, guys. That's awesome, Mike. We've got the second side on. And again, I really love the way that Mike decided to do that, putting it on as a whole. That way you make sure everything fits up, the steps, and they're not stressed between the new holes and the body mounts. So hopefully this helped you guys. Dude, if we did that with no brakes and no talking, I mean, that would be a quick process to get these on.
Oh, yeah.
What would you think? 2 hours?
The other side went quick. This side went real fast.
Well, I think the other side we were nervous about trying a new way because, guys, we did not install those according to the instructions. But I honestly think we did it a better way.
I would not recommend torquing these with Ugga-Duggas.
Yeah, no Ugga-Duggas for these.
It's a bad thing for the nutserts if you jar them loose and it spins out and you ever have to take these off. You're going to have to cut them off from this side unless you can get to it from the back side.
And you can't get to any of these from the back side.
The only way you could possibly do that is if all of the ones down through here came out and only the fenders stayed. You'd have to pull the fender and this with it to cut it from the back and not damage the faceplate.
Nope.
So they're quarter 20 volts, a 1/4 inch drive ratchet will be plenty. Don't need a pipe on the end of it or anything. Just snug them. And then the lower ones, we'll get those nice and snug because they've got the clip nuts and they will stay. And they would probably even take an impact. But stainless bolts, soft metal, will pass.
No Ugga-Duggas either.
No Ugga-Duggas.
Just some tidies.
Ugga-Duggas on the body mount bolts is fine.
All right, guys, all we have to do now is he's just gonna super tighten those body mounts. Mike, is that it?
That's it.
Are we done?
We are.
Oh my God, it's daylight outside.
Sun's still up.
All right, guys.
You're not yawning and shit.
I know, right? This seems to be a great made product. It's super durable. The coating looks very, very nice. The one thing I'm gonna have to get used to is it is a bit of a step up compared to your factory steps. So now my fat ass is gonna have to do a little more yoga to get in, but I think it looks great. And once I get rid of these gray Smittybilt fenders and put the Poison Spyder crusher fenders, it's gonna look a lot better from the side. All right, as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know what you think about these in the comments. Do you like how they look with the orange? We'll see you next time, guys.